Welcome, everyone, and it's a beautiful day once again. Um, this is Digivation Futures Summit, the pre-summit conversation, and we are so glad and excited to have with us experts that are going to shed beautiful lights and insight into the topic we have today. I am Mojisola Alabi, Head of Business Development and Strategy for Digivation Network. Digivation Network are the organizers of Digivation Future Summit with a mission to chart the future with like minds that are great. The summit gathers experts, thought leaders, innovators, and organizations who intend to actually shape the future with their ideas, innovations, products, and services. Other initiatives by Digivation Network are Nigeria Mobile Economic Summit, which is we usually call it NIMES. We also have Nigeria Digital Innovation Conference, which has taken place over the years in locations such as Kano, Ibadan, Oyo State, and we've also had the pleasure of hosting it in Lagos as well, amongst other events and initiatives we have at hand. Digivation Network produces a television technology and business program which takes a look at lifestyle technology and how technology can help businesses grow. This program is syndicated across major TV networks within and beyond Nigeria. Digivation Network is the only one to have won the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa Award twice. The president of Digivation Network, Dr. Bayero Agabi, who is the brain behind this beautiful initiative, is a fellow Nigeria Computer Society. And the team lead, Mr. Hilary Damisa, who is also the project coordinator, is with us at the back end waving. I will also introduce him much more in detail later. And our numerous team members, hi everyone. Those are the technical guys, the content ladies and all that. They are the back end saying hello to everyone and also me. With me today, we've had the pleasure to take out of the time of these beautiful ladies and gentlemen today so that we can have the conversation going for the Digivation Future Summit. I will start with Mr. Alberto Osuji. Mr. Alberto Osuji, Program and Service Delivery Lead at Ethos MTN API Exchange Program. Is with a wealth of experience as an executive enterprise agile coach, and also a servant leadership practitioner. Mr. Alberto brings unparalleled expertise to the table. He champions innovative approaches in fast-paced technology and service organizations, ensuring strategic agile leadership and delivering impactful business outcomes while prioritizing people and values. Mr. Alberto, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Moji. Thank you very much. Thank you, viewers. We look forward to a great session. Uh, Thank you. Thank you, my fellow
Um, so um,
speakers.
Another speaker that we have ready to go on with the conversation is Ashley Emmanuel. She's the co-founder and chief operating officer at Semicolon Africa. Semicolon is a platform that enables Africa's digital transformation by building technology-focused talent and businesses. Semicolons solutions include training, providing talent, solutions for businesses, and building tech-enabled ventures. Ashley has had the opportunity to interact with public and private sector to build young talents who are going to lead the future. Ashley, welcome.
Good morning. Hi, pleasure to be here. Thanks.
Also with me here today is Iriayo Oladunjoye. She's the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Endeavor Nigeria. She's a trained engineer from the City University London and completed the Women's Leadership Program at Oxford University Said Business School. She has, over the years, leveraged on her years of experience in the private and public sector to support entrepreneurs in various life cycles of stages, and also with interventions and resources to enable them to scale their various startups and businesses and create societal behavioral change. Representing her today is Abayomi Olajide. He is the Senior Associate ESG at Endeavor Nigeria. Abayomi, welcome.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Great. Before we get the ball rolling, I just want to share a little bit light to the topic. The bedrock of any civilization, like we all know, is innovation, coming up with new ways of doing things by us, for us, to live better and to do things better and faster. While innovation can be seen as a sword that pave way for new way of living, people wield it actually. So then innovation and people go hand in hand. You would agree with me, right? And the key here is productivity, effectiveness, and growth, which are crucial to development and which is also at the center of any economy. As we all know, Africa has a strong population growth with 65 percentage youth who are also most of them entrepreneurs or C-level executives. And on that note, I welcome viewers, participants, and of course, my experts that are in the studio here with me to Digivation Future Summit 2024 Pre-Summit Conversation. Starting off with Mr. Alberto. Leveraging on humanity and its tenacity to overcome challenges, how can innovation and people help in the journey to the future that we are looking at as so close?
Okay, thank you very much, and I welcome everyone once again. So, the innovation is a great thing. The world revolves around innovation because when you start from the olden days to this moment, what has kept us going is innovation. Some years ago, we cannot be on this kind of call without going to the studio. Today, we can be anywhere we are in the world and have this kind of call. That is innovation. Innovation cannot be complete without human, and that is why the people side of things are very crucial to how we handle innovation. No matter how fantastic the innovation could be, innovation can only be driven by human, and that is why, as a person, I'm I value relationships. I value humans because they are the people that get things going, no matter how beautiful you have those ideas. So, generally, humans are very important. I have some of my colleagues in the HR community on this call. It's just fascinating how you see someone from the core IT background, it's also playing in the HR side of things because humans are essential. You know, if you treat a human right, right, you have happy customer happy. If you treat the humans right, the community is happy, life is happy. I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you very much.
Ashley, do you have anything to say on this?
Just on innovation generally.
Yes. What would you say innovation and people are actually essential?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think that we can tell that as we live our lives, there are a lot of problems we encounter daily that are yet to be solved, right? And so what's going to be required to solve that is innovation. We need to come up with creative new ways of addressing those challenges. And while technology, of course, will have a role to play, the innovation is going to come primarily from people, at least for the to a, to a certain extent for the foreseeable future. So I think it's important for us to really be investing in the human capital that's capable of innovating. Innovation is a skill set that can be taught. We can also create cultures and organizations that are prone to innovation. So I think that that's an important place for us globally, and then definitely in Nigeria and in Africa to be investing.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Oladije, do you have anything to add to this? What Mr.
Yeah,
Alberto and Ashley has commented.
I do think that they've made very great points around capital development. It's very interesting to note that Africa and Nigeria share very similar demographic elements. The average age in Nigeria is about 19.2, meaning that there is a youthful population that their ways of doing things is like almost far removed from the ways were known. Like the first speaker said, Mr. Alberto said, like before if you wanted to have this kind of call in the past, folks had to, maybe physically travel somewhere to gather in one location. Then now we advance to where you have studio. Now there are platforms like StreamYard that allows us to be in distributed places across the globe and have calls like this. So I think that there's a huge opportunity for innovation from a standpoint of the people that are actually going to be doing things. It's a drastically different demography, and also in terms of actually enriching that demography, the young people, the youth, or everybody to be able to get things done in ways that reflect the ethos of ease, accessibility, and every other kind of thing that the young people actually want, or even people that live in the 21st century want. So capital development is very important, and I think that as we go on this, call, we would actually dive more into how human capital developments can, drive innovation. If you look at the story of more developed economies like America, we watch biographies like Men Who Built America and all of those kind of stuff. So I believe that it's not going to be steel that is going to drive development, in the fourth industrial revolution. Is going to be things around code, how to leverage machines to make life easier for people. So still people driving this innovation, and this innovation then make the life of people better. That's my submission. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Olajide, for that comment. We now have Simon joining us now. Hello, Simon. Thank you for joining in.
Mojisola, hi, how are you? And hello to
Yeah.
everyone. Thank you for letting me
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. We've started the conversation, so just follow me with it.
Yeah, no,
So,
I was on YouTube as well, so I could hear the other panelists. Thanks.
oh, okay, Okay, great. Okay, do you have any thoughts or comments on how important innovation and people are to the future?
Yes, of course. So you see, what is innovation? First of all, innovating is creating something new that doesn't exist, that wasn't there. So of course, we have what we call incremental innovation. So some just small changes in processes, but we also have some more fundamental new applications and innovative solutions in different areas. And technology, of course, is a particular area that helps enhance and fast track innovation. So what is required? We spoke, and some of the colleagues here on this platform spoke about people. First of all, when we talk about people, I think it's important to have a mindset, a mindset of an innovative mindset. So it's not enough to just copy. It's very often, and particularly here in the African context or in Nigeria, I've lived in Nigeria for over 13 years now. We do have some kind of automatism to sort of look outside what works in the West, what works in Europe, what works maybe in Asia, and just to replicate, yeah, copy and paste. So I don't call this innovation. For me, that's not innovation. To innovate, we have to look inward, and of course, we have very bright people here in Nigeria doing that exactly. But so that's what we're talking about. But to promote innovation, so it's not enough just to have a very smart person or team even. Although team is very important, yeah, to innovate properly, we actually need to work together, to collaborate, all right, and to have a collaborative mindset, and to have very efficient teams to work together to a common goal to achieve innovative results. So innovations is also about making real, putting into reality a design and first a prototype, a minimum viable product, and then to actually execute on that product, to scale it up and to bring it to market or to use in whichever field it is done. So what is key is not just the people, but of course, again, proper processes, project management processes, testing processes, and adherence. Very, so the people adherence to those quite precise processes. But also, what I would say when we talk about the US or the Europe, etc., big difference is that these superpowers are putting tremendous money in research and development. These are really extreme, huge amounts of cash that are actually, and time and resources, human capital and financial capital invested
Investment.
in research and development. We don't really have that here. So we have to be more creative, more innovative again, and agile. Yeah, and I would say we need to define a proper PPP framework model of cooperation between universities, faculties, business, government. It is happening. Huh? I'm not saying it's not happening, but it requires, let's say, cooperation and collaboration from all of us. I have to bid your patience. I was waiting to join, but I have been called to a very high level meeting, so I will have to leave the panel. I'm really sorry for that, but I really thank you for the opportunity to be with you in the next 5-7 minutes. I would actually have to go, and I sincerely apologize for that. But thank you very much
Oh,
for
okay.
giving me the opportunity
Okay,
to be here.
Simon, thank you. Thank you for at least dashing in. But before you go, can you respond to this question, please? The question is this: to spur innovation, what should Nigeria, though you've outlined some, should Nigeria as a country do, or what specific steps do you think we need to take?
we, we we just need projects, we just need projects. So and we so for example, I'll tell you what ASECO now Accendit, actually, you may have noticed the name of the company has changed. We just actually rebranded last week. So we've done a management buyout of the company ASECO Nigeria. We were in business here for 10 years, and we very recently bought over the shares of the big ASECO group to actually expand and grow the company. And we just finished the rebranding. Now we're called Accendit. What have we done? For example, we have flown over Lagos State, the whole of Lagos State, and we've mapped it using drones. So we've done this project in 2021, 2022. This has never been done before. I have so many customers, government or even banks or other customers telling us, have you done this before? Where have you done this before? I don't want to be your guinea pig. Well, hello, you are going to be my guinea pig. We're going to innovate. We're going to do something new that hasn't been done before, and we're going to do it together. So that's innovation. It requires trust. It requires, again, proper project management, proper framework, proper control, proper governance, and now we have delivered for Lagos State orthophoto map that is 2.5, actually 2.7, so less than 3 centimeter of resolution and accuracy that is being used to issue COVs and to do for land surveyors and for other purposes. This is something that hadn't been done before. We thought it would take us 6 months. It took us almost 12 months, 10 months with some stops, for there was some at some point some security issues, area boys, on other issues we had to handle. But again, doing something that hasn't been done before, and we're very grateful that the Ministry of Science and Technology of Lagos State, now Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, the big I, right, that they put in the name of that ministry. And I, want to salute all the team from the MIST, as we call it now, of Lagos State, really, working very hard to innovate and to do some things that have not been done before, to pioneer, right? So in Lagos State, we're lucky to actually have that mindset, to be the first to go and to do things that have not been done before. But precisely that's what we need. And I'm really sorry because I'm being called, so I would have loved to be here longer, but I have to leave.
Very much. Yeah. Thank you very much. So Simon has actually said some trust. There's need for trust, both the customer or consumer, and also between the service providers as well. Also, the environment needs to be enabling enough for businesses that are trying out, or innovators or entrepreneurs that are trying out new ideas to work, or test running some business ideas. For it to actually work, there's need for that trust and an enabling environment. Mr. Alberto, let me come to you. So my question to you is simply this. How crucial is innovation for economic growth? Money is the bottom line. Everybody wants to make money. But how crucial is innovation to economic growth? Nigeria, as an example.
Well, if I hear you correct, because the network was wobbling, you say how crucial is innovation to economic growth? Is that the question? Okay, fantastic.
Yes.
So innovation is for me is the bedrock of economic growth, because when you talk about innovation, you are going to talk about a new product, just like we heard Simon said, something that has not happened before, right? It will bring about increased productivity. Just imagine what he just said. Using drones and supporting the government in allocating the sea of O. Imagine where, and with even the drones, you have the areas that actually go to make some trouble, right? Disturbing you for one or two things. So imagine how that has cut even the number of that area boy conversation, and that is increased productivity. So something they can even do, assuming they have a cluster and that they want to use, that normally could have taken those guys 6 months, Now maybe they can use about half of it. That is increased productivity. Now it breaks into new markets. Like you said, in Nigeria, I think what they've done now seems to be one of the first I've heard in the history of Nigeria to use the what they call drones to get support government in giving CFO, certificate of occupancy. So when you check it, it's creating new markets. I'm sure in a year's time we'll have other companies that will start similar initiative, and that will increase the market opportunities that we have. We also innovation is really clear because now you have competitiveness. Now, assuming
Yes.
the technology they are using now is whatever 1.0, with the challenges they are experiencing and the the feedbacks that is being given to the organization, the vendors, you will see that you have that competitiveness coming up now. There will be some other guys that have maybe better equipment that can support those innovations. And if you see also innovation for me also or for all of us, it creates just new perspective, right?
Okay.
It will create employment, take off some of the graduates off the street and create maybe some kind of job opportunities for us with being sustainable. Because in all these things, if you check, some innovators they just die after a while. So innovation properly put in place, like he mentioned also, processes. You have to put some processes, some governance around it, so that it is sustainable. So it's not after a few moments you have the innovation so that we can, right? So I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Alberto, for that contribution and also for your comment to your response to that question. You are quite specific onto the fact that there is need for it's innovation is so crucial so that there will be creation of jobs, so that the youth can be financially and also intellectually empowered. Moving on to Ashley. But before I go to Ashley, someone made a comment where I would like to actually read. We have Mr. Aniekan Ezekiel on the comment section saying hello from Express Payment Solutions Limited. And also we have Lan Adnaji, yeah, made these comments saying, emphasizing what Mr. Olajide mentioned earlier, saying humans drive innovation and of that innovation will largely depend on the human capital development and that geopolitical region. So this is where government policies comes in. I know policy plays another impact on how innovation and people can actually come together to create that future. So Ashley, let me come to you. You are a people person. You are into development of individuals, young people, and ensuring capacity and skill set goes in tandem with what they want to project or provide, the service they want to provide in order to meet Nigerian needs. So my question to you is, are we getting there yet? Do we have that set of demography, the young, vibrant? Do they have that capacity and skill set to meet what they want to offer consumers in Nigeria and at large Africa?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, the short answer is no. So we still have a significant gap between our current talent pool and the types of jobs that kind of the types of talent or kind of capacity, I would say, and skill set that's most in demand globally and also in Nigeria and across Africa as well. So as we all know, we have a lot of raw human capital in Nigeria, which means we have tremendous potential, very large and growing pool of young people. In fact, by I think 2040, about half of the world's working age population will be in Africa. And we know that Nigeria is the largest economy or largest country by population in Africa. So there's going to be quite a bit of the global workforce in Nigeria specifically. However, unfortunately, there's still a gap between the talent in that pool and what employers are demanding. So at Semicolon, a big part of what we do is help to bridge that gap. We provide training. We train basically highly employable software engineers, is where we started. And for our program, we're very outcome focused. We guarantee jobs for those engineers because we've been able over time to consistently deliver a high level of quality. But I will say that it requires 1 year of very intensive training and a lot of hard work in order for the software engineers we work with to get to that point of being highly employable. So we see a lot of kind of gaps in the talent pool, and I think that just really shows us that we need to invest more in human capital. Nigeria historically, in terms of our national budget, we invest a lower percentage in health and education than most other countries in the world. So I think that's something that needs to be looked at. We need to look at education reform all the way up and down. Unfortunately, for Semicolon, we even train people come to us who have degrees in computer science from good universities in the country, some of the country's leading universities, and they still have to come to Semicolon to be trained for another year in order to really get jobs. So that just kind of shows the mismatch in terms of what's being produced by the educational system and what employers are requiring. We spoke about innovation earlier. Also the skill set for those who don't maybe want to follow a traditional entrepreneurship path or a traditional employment path, but want to become entrepreneurs. There's also a set of skills required for that. And that's something that we also need to invest more in building.
Okay, thank you very much, Ashley, for that input. Mr. Olajide, I want to, I'm curious as to your opinion on, you made mention something on capital development, but over Simon's conversation, Mr. Alberto's conversation, and Ashley, the bottom line is investment. Do you think we are doing enough in Africa, but especially in Nigeria?
Yes, thank you very much for the question. Are we doing enough in Africa? My submission is much aligned to what the Ashley has said. There's still so much we can do. I'll take, for example, India. India is currently or I don't know now like, but prior to now, India is like a global outsourcing hub, but that's not possible if they don't have access to technical skills, if the young population cannot actually speak business language, if they're not literate enough to actually do that, it's not going to be possible, right? If there are no existing infrastructure like fiber optics and all of those kind of stuff, it's not possible for India to be an outsourcing hub. So for Nigeria, and Nigeria has all the indices to actually get that done in terms of the human capital. like I said, 19.2. In Africa, it's 25. So, but in terms of core infrastructure around, fiber, internet connectivity, we're still a little rough around the edges in terms of the
Okay.
quality of education even given for young people to be able to engage, engage global markets, engage global employers. You can see that there are a lot of organizations or people that to actually make sure that these people actually have the core technical skills and then are workplace ready, like semicolon, helping to bridge that gap and creating um earning earning income potential, young people. So in terms of investment, I would say we're not there yet. We need to actually rejig our educational curriculum to be up to date. It's sad that a lot of people go through, universities and most of them learn how to code on black and white board. I went to a great university myself, and the case is not even as far off, from what is the norm. Just that people need to more self learning, to actually upskill themselves and rely on. We need to actually rely a lot more on platforms like Semicolon. I do agree that government may not have the capacity, the state capacity to drive this. But what are the ways that we can, enable players like Semicolon, enable players like Andela, Old School, Talent Cure to actually scale that program, the programs that they run or the activities they run to actually cover more people, more young people within the country. I believe that Nigeria has all it takes to actually be the outsourcing capital for Africa and the larger world. The demography is in our favor. One in every four people with African. Nigeria is going to continue to be like the largest nation, given it is projected. So how are we preparing ourselves for that world? So we need to invest in infrastructure. We need to public-private partnerships with people that are currently bridging this gap. And we also need to make incentives available in terms of grants, in terms of helping these hubs to actually promote innovation. So I think that there's a lot more to be done in terms of investment, and potential is actually really, really massive. Look at remittances. Remittances to Nigeria alone is about $20 billion. If we're able to just enable the young people in Nigeria, get them able to be globally competitive in terms of skills, they are going to earn forex, and potentially, if everything in terms of public goods work, they'll be able to remit taxes. So that makes our country, very, very, very much competitive. So it's a long term, it's a mid to long term strategy, but there are quick wins that we from the get go. So to make a lot of investment, and it has to be proper sequence so we can reap the result in terms of human capital development.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Mr. Olajide, for that insight. There's need for investment, but most especially infrastructure, broadband infrastructure, the right equipped, teachers or lecturers to actually teach. You made mention of some people had to go and do self-learning, and you also said some people are coding on the blackboard. Wow, we indeed we still have a long way to go. Really, we have so many points raised by Ashley, Simon, Alberto, and Mr. Olajide. But there's one big elephant in the room, whether the money or the investment is ready, whether the skill set and capacity is top notch, or whether the government policy is actually helping, or whether the environment is enabling enough, and that is artificial intelligence. Huh. The thinking saw and is actually concrete. If you might actually have to agree with me on that. But my question is this: with artificial intelligence in the mix right now, Some school of thought are yay, some are nay. But the question I have for you guys is, can we say artificial intelligence is here to defeat us, the people, or actually shape or enable us? Let me start from Ashley. Your response.
I think it's an interesting question. So, I mean, I think any tool, it can be used in multiple ways, and it's partly going to depend on how we design, how we design and deploy it, and also how we organize ourselves collectively in managing it. So I think that I think that the question is not so much the capacity of the tool of artificial intelligence as much as how kind of our capacity is in society to agree on sort of principles around how artificial intelligence should or should not be employed, what guardrails we may need to set up with regards to AI, and then how we're going to kind of work together to create those guardrails. Unfortunately, I think that sometimes it can be a lot easier to just build technology than it is to organize nations and groups of people around a concept and kind of proceed with regulation or governance. But it's something that just has to be done. So I think that that's a global conversation that needs to be ongoing in terms of maybe what guardrails need to be established with regards to artificial intelligence. You know, it's here, right? We have. I mean, we've been had some form of artificial intelligence for quite some time, but now have seen kind of faster progress with some of the generative AI. So I think that it's sort of exciting to explore the capabilities while just managing the risks. And I think that same thing has applied to any new technology. In the case of AI, maybe we're looking at some faster timelines, and we're looking at AI being deployed at the same time that we see other kind of innovative technologies also becoming available. So we're probably in a period of a lot of change and flux right now, which is why we need to be having these conversations.
Okay, Ashley, thank you for that. Mr. Alberto, does this resonate with you in any way?
Yes, of course. AI is here to stay. A different conversation might be if we have the necessary infrastructure platform to support AI. Um, you know, I love what Jide said around the internet infrastructure because some of these things will not function properly if we don't have the right infra in place. Um, AI is great because it also positions us for global competitiveness. We may not be fully ready, but I can tell you it's already here. We need to embrace it. We actually get to know where our challenges are. We need to so that we don't compete unnecessarily in this space of AI, right? I can tell you for free. In MTN, for example, a lot of work is going into AI because AI increases productivity, and every right-thinking organization want to increase productivity, want to make use of the manpower properly, and kind of pivot them into somewhere they'll be more productive. All those repetitive tasks, we want to have AI do it. Just a few weeks ago, permit me to say this. MTN we launched uh, like a self-service, a digital center where you go in and do a whole lot of stuff on your own, just on your own, something the normal customer service person will do for you, to the point of also dispersing sin. This is innovation. This is AI at work. So how can we do more? Is it possible? Yes. Do we have the right infrastructure? Maybe not. Simon said something that is very, very crucial. Are we investing enough in research and development, R&D? I'm not sure we are, because if you look at the budget today, where is technology? How much is technology? Right? How much is being put into technology? So we need to put the right investment because Nigerians, I'm sure Ashley will confirm this, that we are very smart people. All we need is opportunity to excel. Give us the right opportunity, and I like talking about psychological safety. Create the right environment for people to thrive, and they will just like this explode positively with great innovations from the least people that you expect such to come from. So AI is here to stay. We may not be very matured about it, but we need to also put in the right governance to ensure that it's not abused. We see a lot of things flying in the past 1 week, AI generated, and people are wondering which one is true, which one is not true. So we need to be very, very intentional about it and ask ourselves, as a people and as a nation, as a government, to say, hey, are we really ready for AI, and what are our plans to tackle it head on, so that we can remain competitive in the global economy and not be playing catch up. I think we can do the right investments, put people in the right places, send them abroad with a commitment to learn and return back to the nation to impact on the generality of the people. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Alberto, for that input. Um, Abayomi, I know you must have one or two things to say about it. What are your thoughts?
Yes, thank you very much. I think my thoughts are much aligned with what Mr. Alberto and Ashley have said. I think I'm very much aligned with what they've said around it. AI is a multiplier. AI is a tool that we can use, businesses, organizations, even governments can use to actually better the lives of people. It can be used, for great decision making. There's currently a push nationwide around wanting to roll out credits. There's credit being offered for undergraduate. There's a credit co-organization. I do think that credit is going to change the way it's going to actually move the needle when we have like a very large credit gap. And just looking at the way AI can actually play in that space most immediately is that there are data from telecom service providers. There's data that is just isolated everywhere. I do think that it's going to be a case of what Ashley also said again is like what are the governance, what are the frameworks you're putting around it. We don't want a case where we're talking about AI but we can't really crack data privacy. People just download somebody's NI and sleep just somewhere and all that kind of stuff. So AI like really relies on data. So like do we actually have like enough, like do we have like the accurate structure around data privacy, data governance, and all those framework, and how that can we interoperability between different data sources to actually move the needle. And I'm just looking at it from a macro perspective, like the credit stuff, for example. So like you want to give credit to somebody, how can you ensure that my BVN is linked to my telecom, draw data from different points? Those are useful decisions. And also AI can help out in many ways. The speaker who left spoke about using drones to actually map out geospatial mapping, using AI to see and all that kind of stuff. And in terms of even interventions, I think that the most important thing is I don't think AI actually poses an immediate threat to productivity, to labor and productivity in Nigeria at this time, because they are like the earlier speaker said, what we need to realize is that there are different kinds of innovation. So Nigeria currently, what innovation looks like to us may not innovation will not, the AI innovation will be globally. It may just be that AI serves as a tool to support decision making, to help us to, gain insights, to deliver things better, for corporations and all that. I do think, and this is my bet, corporations are going to get a head start, or faster grabs on use cases of AI, faster than the public sector that, critically needs it. And these issues around data privacy, data governance, interoperability of data is what the from the public sector should actually look at to make life easier. But on the whole, I do think that, AI is going to, it has the potential to make life better, make decisions, more efficient, and, to improve outcomes for everyone. So it's not something that we should fear. Rather, we should build capacity. We should do our homework. We should lay the groundwork to ensure that we can actually, ride on this wave for, prosperity, and for for flourishing for everyone, from corporates to public sector, and even personally.
Thank you very much, Ayobami, for that input on AI. We have quite a number of people that has turned in their questions for Ashley, for Alberto, and for Ayobami. But before I take, we go to the Q&A, some participants have actually made one or two comments, which I would like to also share with the speakers, so that the conversation is two-way. I have Aniekan Ezekiel saying innovation, in his own perspective, innovation creates new jobs that never existed before, creating new opportunities for people, but it does so by eliminating jobs and opportunities that used to employ more people then. We can say it will create more, and it will also eliminate, but it will create more than the number it will eliminate. Thank you, Anieka and Ezekiel, for that input. James Olorundare mentioned innovation is key to the advancement of our digital development. There's nothing we can say these days really without technology. It's practically at the center of it all. I have Ngozi Agu. Innovation is crucial, especially in Africa, because it transforms education by making learning more accessible and relevant. For example, e-learning platforms and mobile technologies are bridging the gap. Thank you, Ngozi, for that contribution. True, bridging the gap is very, very crucial right now, because the speakers have said it. Investments are not enough. The infrastructures, we are not yet there, but we keep pushing, and also there's need for that gap to close. Gideon Tobiloba also commented, Africa needs to define its own innovation pathway. As long as we create stuffs around what the West are doing, we are not yet there. Innovation, in its true form, must be outside the status quo. Thank you, Gideon, for that comment. Also, still now back to AI, Gideon Tobiloba commented that AI is not here to limit human capacity. Rather, it's here to enhance the potential of humans. If we don't pull all our resources on it now, we may be recolonized with it. AI is the universe in the palms of our hands. Thank you, Gideon, for that comment on AI. Annie Ekan Ezekiel also has a thought. Should we go all out with innovation? Should we go all out with innovations between new jobs being created and the old ones being eliminated, such that there's always a net positive effect? Well, it's more like a comment and question. Or I will raise that again during the Q&A. Ignite your path. Thank you for joining, and also saying hello to Mr. Alberto. Now, wrapping up before we go to Q&A, what are your last thoughts to government? Because every one of you has directly or indirectly mentioned government policy and the public sector. So, what are your last thoughts and message to this? Mr. Alberto, should we start from you?
Okay. Thank you very much, Moji. For me, it's interesting anyway. So, for me, government should collaborate with the all stakeholders. It's not enough for NITDA, for NCC, for Ministry of Science and Innovation, Technology, and all other players in the private sector. Everyone needs to come together. And for me, being a policy advocate and an alumnus of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, Guru, I think people should just come together so that we look at it from a holistic perspective, taking in security, taking in the humans, like the comments that have been raised now. We really need to have people. Sorry. So we really need to have people get into a whole lot of conversation so that we know that it is not some people sitting somewhere that will come up with these policies. It is a policy drafted for the common good of the Nigerian people and the rest of the world. I believe that will create a robust policy that, like just a few days ago, I read someone challenging the Honorable Minister also on some initiative. So imagine those stakeholders were not carried along, and it was a very lengthy and very thought-provoking submissions he did. So we wouldn't want that to happen because it becomes waste. When you put people together in a room, and you can imagine what they do today, you put them in hotel, and their bills will rise, and will start complaining, cost of governance. If that should happen, it should happen very effectively so that people will now find value in that spend that government and the other sector players have put together to develop a policy document that really works for the benefit of everyone, taking into consideration what our friends here on the platform have said, balancing the job, how is it taking away the jobs, that kind of all those kind of silent points that people may normally ignore because of they want to be carried away by the wave of policy. So everybody needs to come together, and the policymakers need to be there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alberto, on your submission. Ashley, do you think the public-private partnership is strong enough for the policies not to affect the entrepreneurs negatively? Your last thoughts, just rounding off.
Okay, so I think that for government to create a strong set of enabling policy for entrepreneurs, there are a few things that we need to do. So one is to have clarity and predictability in regulation. For example, before Semicolon, I was CEO of an organization called AFINA that promoted financial inclusion. And we did quite a bit of work around fintech. And one of the challenges fintechs had was sometimes just understanding what regulation applied to them, even interpreting, correctly interpreting the regulations if they were written in a way that maybe was ambiguous. So, and then also understanding what regulatory changes might be happening, because one of the biggest kind of risks is uncertainty, right? For example, when Lagos State banned Okada a few years ago, even though that related to mobility and mobility businesses, there were people, fintechs, investors overseas called them nervous and said, okay, if the government can make a kind of a sudden change, what felt like to them overnight, is this too risky of a market for us to be investing in? So that clarity and predictability in terms of regulation is important. I think that really just, straightforward, but tackling the ease of doing business. We've have relatively low ease of doing business in multiple ways. Some things, require some overhaul of infrastructure, which some other panelists have mentioned already. Electricity, internet, etc., which will take a little bit more investment to address. But basic things, making it easier, cheaper, faster to register to go through all of the meet all the various regulatory requirements. Not, ensuring that the government officials that we meet in various components of our business are professional and going to be more helpful than a drag on the process, etc. Ensuring that platforms, kind of e-government are all fully operational, and investing more in that. Those kinds of things actually can do a lot to create the right environment for innovators. Because a lot, although, and then of course, as I mentioned, really we need to have that much stronger investment in human capital, starting really from maternity, like pregnancy. You need to start investing in nutrition, prenatal care, etc. Children who don't get adequate nutrition, their mental capacity will be limited for the rest of their lives. So we need to invest in both the health and nutrition of people, but also definitely in educating them and skilling them properly. And once we have a really kind of highly skilled workforce, including with a skill set and orientation toward innovation, then we'll see a lot of it take off.
Okay, thank you very much, Ashley. Ayobami, any thoughts?
Yeah, I do think that I mean the panel is well rounded. We've spoken a lot. We have somebody who infrastructure side. I think that there is a lot to beef up in terms of public private sector collaboration. One from because I share the perspective, and most people who have observed governance strategies have observed that it's best the job of government is in stay out of the way of the private sector and let them do their thing. We've seen this to be the trend in most developed economies, with an exception of a couple others, right? So to give an example in terms of state capacity, how do we train people? I think three entity, trying to partner with a lot of innovation hubs, and that's a good idea. But more importantly, is like you can see there's actually um, you can gauge the quality between what will go on with three entities, what will happen with private sector-led initiatives like, or just private initiatives like Semicolon, Talent and a couple of others. So you see that government needs to actually, instead of floating up, programs, actually look for ways to partner with people that currently have the know-how, that are more in tune with are the linkages, have the linkages and the relationships with global market, and know how to actually get these things and actually scaling them rather than starting something. Because my fear with government initiative is that as good as they sound, they face a problem of continuity because of our political economy. So that's one. From the second perspective, I see that private sector partnership is, I think government should go beyond just legislating, actually facilitating, and I think this is something Mr. Abato would agree with, is like in telecommunications, for example, laying fiber optic cable was really a big headache for people that played there, but thankfully they had like some concessions around right of way, waiving right of way, allowed a lot of telecoms operators lay fiber optic cable, who actually is going to be who is this going to benefit? It's the people at the end of the day. So, instead of just levying like heavy right of way fees on telecoms, making people not have access to broadband, just give discount, allow connectivity around the nation. There are some states that are yet to actually operationalize that. Some states have done that, Ekiti, Osun, I'm aware, and a couple of others. So it's those sort of initiatives that actually allow private sector to actually scale faster and to multiply their impact is one of the things that we're most excited about at Endeavor. Just one last point is that I think that the government needs to take a long-term thinking to these things. Singapore in 1965 gained independence. They had a GDP per capita of, I think, less than $1,000. Nigeria gained independence in 1960, and is now, I think, about $60,000 in GDP per capita. Nigeria is regressing to slightly below 2,000, or just hanging around the 2,000 range. It's like monoproduct economy of relying on oil we know anymore. Our greatest asset is not under the ground; it is the people on the ground. And I think all of these things we've said should actually be ensure that we maximize our greatest natural resource. Nigeria's greatest natural resource are its people, its young population. How are we supporting them, in terms of incentive, policy, regulatory environment, and all of those kind of things. So I'm going to end my summation with that our greatest natural resource in Nigeria, it's the people that live on the ground. And the we know that and we invest in that, we partner with private sector to ensure they can scale impact, to make sure these people can actually do what they want to do, the better it is for us. The best time to have planted this tree was 20 years ago, and the next best time is now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayobami, for that. Now over to the Q&A section. But because of time, I will have to take just two questions. Hilary Damisa, though this question is from Simon, but I wouldn't mind if any one of you care to respond to that. He said, Simon, please, is there a line that humanity needs to draw for innovation, not to drive existence into possible extinction? Any one of you care to respond to that? Should I go again? Is there a line that humanity needs to draw for innovation, not to drive existence into possible extinction?
I mean, I think it's a big question. I'll just maybe address a piece of it. I think, like we were discussing with regards to AI, really, I think the probably we need to just collectively, I think that's more of a governance question, really. How do we collectively define our values as society, and then establish kind of collective policies, regulations, culture around kind of executing against those values. So, for example, I think that one of the kind of questions that's coming up a lot right now in terms of innovation and sustainability is related to climate and the natural environment. So, a lot of innovation that has made economies and people prosperous and improved quality of life in various ways has also had negative impact on our natural environment. And we're seeing, various collective repercussions of that. And I think that the response to that is a combination of things, right? It's looking at how do we collectively, well, first of all, further innovate, right? But how do we set policy incentives that sort of steer us toward deploying innovation that we feel is net positive for us collectively. And how do we maybe now kind of adapt to some of those consequences? So I think that applies, not just in the context of climate, but other things we're thinking about, uses of AI, uses of technology. I mean, a lot of technology can be used for good or for evil, so to speak. But oftentimes I think it's much, there's sort of gradations and priorities. So it's just a matter of us kind of collectively having really informed conversations and deciding what we prioritize. Maybe the other thing that comes to mind for me in that topic, I was listening to an interesting podcast on AI by Brene Brown. So she's actually I think she's maybe cognitive psychologist. I'm not sure her background, but she's really writes and speaks on things like organizations and leadership. She's not a tech person at all, but sort of did a series on her podcast, a series of interviews exploring, different aspects of AI. And one of the things that came up that I thought was interesting in some of those conversations is that the need to have really a wide range of voices at the table. Because as I mentioned, these are more human decisions and conversations we're having about what we value and prioritize as cultures and as groups of people. So yes, we need to have people in the room who are, software engineers, who are data scientists, who really understand technology and its capacity and its trajectory. But you also need philosophers and ethicists and social scientists and psychologists, and maybe religious leaders, I don't know, because we're really having conversations about, what are we prioritizing. Oftentimes with innovation, there's a trade-off. Maybe we create jobs, but we also create a ton of pollution. Where do we draw the line? I don't know.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you very much for that. Is there, Mr. Alberto, you want to say something on that, or you want to respond to that question as well?
Hello. I think actually dealt nicely with it because it has to do about more of governance, which I think I've mentioned earlier in the course of the session. Governance is key because if you just allow it to just go, everybody to structure and execution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone that has joined in. It's been a wonderful time. I've learned quite a lot. And I'm so happy that some participants too have also had the opportunity to raise their own comments and thoughts on the topic we have today. I think that's all for questions because of the time. I just want to say a big thank you to Mr. Alberto Osuji. Thank you so much for your time and making it to this conversation, and your input too are well appreciated. Is the Program and Service Delivery Lead at Ethos MTN API Exchange Program. Thank you, Ashley Emmanuel. She's the co-founder and chief operating officer at Semicolon Africa. Thank you, Ayobami Olajide. He's the senior associate. Thank you so much to Semicolon. Thank you to Nigerian Customs Service. Big thank you to NACITEM. We say a big thank you to NASENI. Huge thanks to MTN Nigeria. A big thank you to Internet Exchange Point of Nigeria. And also a big thank you to precise financial systems. I see someone from there. And thank you to everyone from different locations that joined in. I see someone from France. Bonjour. How is the Paris game going over there? Someone from Brazzaville. Wow, thank you so much. I didn't know a lot of people joined in from there. Also, we have someone from Kenya as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in and contributing to this beautiful topic, pushing the limits, using people and innovation as tools to shape the future. I'm so excited for the future. And we can see that speakers too are quite excited for the future. And they have challenged Africa and Nigeria to do better and to, add some spaces to those empty spaces, put square pegs in square holes, and render the necessary innovation for policies, people, and also capacity and skills development. Thank you so much for your time, and we appreciate it. Oh, sorry, we have some people. Oh, sorry, Mr. Emmanuel Izebibe and Dr. Roslyn Izimeto too. Thank you for joining. Oh, sorry, I missed some people. Oh, wow, somebody joining from Morocco. Wow, thank you everyone for being part of this conversation. The conversation has started, but do not forget, Digivation Future Summit comes up 22nd August 2024 at Radisson Blue Hotel, Ikeja, GRA, Lagos. We are going to have series of panel session, keynote presentations. So don't miss it. Join us, be there, and come with your team, come with your colleagues, because we are learning new trends that day. We are learning new opportunities that day, and we are also connecting that day. From me here, Mojisola Alabi, thank you again, once again, for joining. Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye bye everyone. Thank you. Thank you,
Bye
Moji.
bye. Thanks a lot.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Bami. Thank you, Ashley. Yeah. Hello, Moji. Are you there? Hello, Moji. Are you there?